Let's begin this journey with a simple but powerful truth. Money is not the goal. Freedom is. Freedom of time, freedom of choice, and freedom from the worry that your next paycheck controls your life. In this book, we're going to talk about how to build assets that pay you forever. Not just for a few months, not just until the market changes, but for life. Because real wealth is built on systems, not effort alone. Every great journey begins not with movement, but with a decision. A quiet but powerful moment when you choose to see life differently. This, right here, is that moment. The beginning of your transformation from chasing money to commanding it, living in survival mode to stepping into financial freedom. The truth is, most people are trapped in a system that rewards effort but punishes stagnation. They wake up, go to work, give their best hours to someone else's dream, receive just enough to stay afloat. They trade their time, the one thing they can never get back, for money that disappears as quickly as it comes. But this book, this journey you've chosen, is not about working harder. It's about working smarter, building intentionally, and creating assets that pay you forever. Because true freedom isn't about quitting your job, moving to a beach, or retiring early. It's about designing a life that doesn't depend on your constant presence to sustain itself. Freedom is when your ideas, your investments and your creations generate value for you, while you sleep, while you travel, while you live. To understand wealth, you must first understand what keeps most people from it. The illusion of effort. Society has conditioned us to believe that working more equals earning more, that business equals productivity, and that a high income equals success. But if that were true, the hardest working people would be the wealthiest, and we know that's not the case. The truth is, wealth doesn't flow to the busiest. It flows to the wisest. It flows to those who understand how to create systems that work independently of their effort. An asset is one such system. An asset is a bridge between your time and your freedom. It's something you build once but benefit from endlessly. It could be a business, a piece of real estate, an investment portfolio, a book, a song, a digital course, or even an idea that solves a problem for others. One has one purpose: to generate cash flow without demanding your constant attention. Assets are your silent workers, your invisible employees, your financial engines that keep running, even when you stop. Now, before you start thinking that asset creation is only for the rich, let me tell you something important. Every wealthy person started exactly where you are. With an idea. With a decision. With the courage to think differently. The wealthy are not superhuman. They just follow a different set of rules. Rules that most people never learn because traditional education doesn't teach them. You were taught how to earn a living, not how to build a legacy. You were taught how to save money, not how to make money multiply. You were taught to find a job, not to create one. But this book exists to rewrite that script. You are not here to survive, you are here to thrive. You are not meant to chase money forever. You are meant to build wealth that works for generations. That's what the blueprint of freedom is all about. Shifting your focus from income to ownership, from activity to impact, temporary earnings to timeless assets. Think of your life as a structure. Right now, you might be standing on the foundation of survival, paying bills, managing expenses, maybe saving a little. That's the ground floor, but above that floor lies the level of stability, where your assets start producing consistent income, and above stability lies success, where your assets grow faster than your expenses. But the top level, the one very few reach, is significance. where your wealth creates opportunity for others, where your name carries value, and where your money becomes a force for good. This book will guide you through each level, one chapter at a time. It's not about get-rich-quick schemes or financial tricks. It's about timeless principles, tested strategies, and mental mastery that help you build a life of abundance and meaning. Person has two choices in life: to be a consumer or to be a creator. Consumers spend, creators build. Consumers trade time for money, creators trade ideas for freedom. The shift begins in your mind. The moment you start asking, how can I make my money work for me? Instead of, how can I make more money? Everything changes. The rich don't look for jobs, for leverage. They ask how to multiply value, how to automate income, and how to transform knowledge into capital. You must begin to think like that. Start by seeing money not as something to be earned, but as something to be deployed. A tool that, when used wisely, can buy you time, opportunity, and peace. The blueprint of freedom also requires discipline. You can't build lasting wealth with a short-term mindset. You can't expect to plant today and harvest tomorrow. Wealth is not built overnight. It's built every night, quietly, patiently, and persistently. Every decision you make with money is either building your future or borrowing from it. Dollar you spend is a soldier. It can fight for you or against you. The difference lies in direction. When you buy liabilities, you fund someone else's dream. When you buy assets, you fund your own. The car that drains your wallet, the gadget that adds no value, the clothes that impress but don't progress. These are silent thieves of freedom. On the other hand, the stock that grows, the business that earns, the course that teaches, the content that compounds, these are silent builders of wealth. You see, the rich don't just have assets, they have awareness. They understand money is energy, and energy flows where focus goes. If your focus is on consumption, you'll always lack. But if your focus is on creation, you'll always attract. The journey you're about to take is not about working harder, but thinking better. You'll learn to create systems that work for you, investments that grow with time, and habits that turn every opportunity into income. But most importantly, you'll learn how to detach your worth from your work. Because your value is not defined by how much you earn, but by how much freedom you build. So, as we close this first chapter, remember this: wealth is not an event, it's a design. It's not a finish line, it's a formula. You are the architect, your mind is the blueprint. The assets you build will not just pay you money. They will pay you time, peace, and legacy. This is the foundation, the beginning of your journey toward financial independence. From this point forward, you are no longer a worker chasing wages, you are a builder designing freedom. Welcome to the world of ownership. Welcome to the beginning of your forever wealth. Wealth begins long before the money arrives. It starts in the mind. Before you can build assets that pay you forever, you must first build a mindset that attracts abundance, protects it, and multiplies it. The way you think about money determines how money responds to you. Most people chase money because they believe it's scarce. Something to hunt, to earn. But wealth thinkers understand that money is not the goal, it's a result. It's a reflection of the value you create, the problems you solve, the mindset you cultivate. The poor and middle class think about spending money. The rich think about circulating it. The poor see money as a tool for consumption, the wealthy see it as a seed for creation. Every dollar that comes into your hand is a decision point. Do you use it to look rich, or do you use it to become rich? The wealth mindset is about choosing growth over gratification, patience over pressure, and strategy over emotion, about learning to delay temporary pleasures for permanent peace. You see, a rich mindset doesn't just earn money. It manages it, multiplies it, and makes it meaningful. That's why this chapter is the bridge between desire and discipline. Because without a wealth mindset, every financial opportunity will pass through your hands like water through open fingers. A person with the wrong mindset could win the lottery today and still be broke in 5 years, but a person with the right mindset could lose everything today and rebuild an empire tomorrow. Why? Because mindset is the real asset. When you think like the wealthy, you begin to act differently. You stop asking, "How much does it cost?" and start asking, "What will it return?" You stop looking for discounts and start looking for dividends. You stop seeking jobs and start seeking ownership. The wealthy know that money is simply energy. It flows to the people who respect it, understand it, and use it to create more value for the world. A wealth mindset begins with gratitude and grows through awareness. You must first appreciate the resources you have, no matter how small, because gratitude attracts growth. When you are thankful for what you have, you signal to the universe that you can handle more. But if you complain, communicate scarcity, and scarcity repels abundance. That's why people who constantly say, "I can't afford it," rarely do. Instead, wealthy thinkers ask, "How can I afford it?" That single change of language transforms your mind from limitation to possibility. The first step in wealth creation is not financial literacy. It's mental flexibility. You must train your mind to see opportunities, not obstacles. Problems are not roadblocks, they're signals of value waiting to be created. Every product, every invention, every fortune started with someone solving a problem that others ignored. A wealth mindset also understands the law of cause and effect. Money doesn't just appear, it's attracted through value creation. The amount of money you earn is directly tied to the size of the problem you solve and the number of people you help. That's why the rich don't compete. They create. They don't chase trends. They start them. The poor chase money, the wealthy chase purpose. Purpose always brings profit. When you live with intention, when your work helps others, when your assets solve real problems, world will reward you, sometimes instantly, sometimes over time, but always inevitably. The secret is consistency. Every wealthy person you admire today built their fortune brick by brick, day by day, through disciplined focus. They learned that success isn't about speed, it's about direction. You can run fast in the wrong direction and still go nowhere. The wealth mindset is about aligning your time, habits, and actions with your ultimate vision of freedom, saying no to distractions that don't serve your destiny. Every no to something small is a yes to something greater. Fear is another silent enemy of wealth. Many people never build assets because they are afraid. Afraid to fail, afraid to lose, afraid to be judged. But here's the truth: failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the process. Every successful investor, entrepreneur, creator has failed more times than most people have tried. Failure is tuition. It's the price you pay for wisdom, and the wealth mindset doesn't run from it. It learns from it. When you fail, you gain information, resilience, perspective. 3 things no school can teach. If you want to build assets that last, you must first build courage that lasts longer than fear, because the market will test you, people will doubt you, and sometimes your ideas will fail. But if your mindset is strong, you will rebuild, reimagine, and rise higher. The wealth mindset thrives under pressure because it sees challenges as training grounds. Diamonds are made under pressure, are millionaires. Another key principle of the wealth mindset is understanding time. Time is the most valuable currency you own, and how you spend it defines your financial future. Poor thinkers trade time for money. Wealthy thinkers trade money for time. They invest in tools, systems, and people that multiply their output and free them to focus on creation. When you buy back your time, you buy back your life. Every asset you build should be designed to free up more time, not consume it. That's how you escape the rat race, by using today's energy to create tomorrow's freedom. The wealth mindset doesn't say, "I'll work forever." It says, "I'll build systems that work forever." Generosity is also part of the wealth mindset. Abundance isn't hoarded, it's shared. The more value you give, the more value returns to you. This isn't spiritual fluff, it's economic reality. Every thriving business, every powerful brand, profitable investment exists because it gives something valuable to others. The moment you start focusing on service, money becomes a byproduct, not a pursuit. The wealth mindset knows that money follows meaning, and meaning follows mastery. So, focus on mastering your craft, your communication, creativity, because when you become exceptional, money has no choice but to find you. Finally, the wealth mindset is about belief. An unshakable conviction that you are capable of creating wealth and worthy of keeping it. Many people subconsciously sabotage their success because they believe wealth isn't for them. They associate money with greed, power, or guilt. But money is neutral. It only amplifies who you are. In the hands of a wise person, it becomes a tool for freedom and impact. In the hands of the careless, it becomes a weapon of destruction. You must rewire your beliefs about wealth. You must believe that abundance is your birthright, that prosperity is natural, and that wealth creation is a service, not a sin. When you truly believe that, you begin to attract opportunities aligned with your growth. The universe responds to conviction. So, as this chapter ends, remember this: your wealth will only grow as much as your mind does. You can't build $1 million life with $1,000 mindset. Expand your vision, elevate your thoughts, and evolve your relationship with money. Decades, not days. Focus on ownership, not employment. Chase freedom, not fame. The wealth mindset is not about becoming someone else. It's about unlocking the best version of yourself, the version that builds, owns, and multiplies. Once your mind accepts abundance as normal, wealth becomes inevitable. You are no longer just living. You are designing. You are no longer surviving. You are building. And with that, you are now ready to step into the next phase of your journey, turning your thoughts into tangible wealth, your ideas into income, and your mindset into the line that separates the rich from the struggling. Is not talent, education, or even opportunity. It is understanding the difference between income and wealth. Most people spend their lives chasing income, believing that the more they earn, the wealthier they become, but that is one of the greatest illusions of modern life. Income is temporary, wealth is permanent. Income feeds your lifestyle, but wealth builds your legacy. Income is what you work for, wealth is what works for you. Depends on your effort, your hours, and your energy, but wealth depends on your assets, your systems, and your strategy. The world is filled with high earners who look successful on the outside. Driving nice cars, living in big homes, wearing designer clothes. But behind those appearances often lies a quiet truth: they are one paycheck away from panic. They have income, not wealth. Moment their job ends, their lifestyle collapses. Why? Because their money has no engine, it has no system to multiply itself. Real wealth, on the other hand, is silent, steady, and strategic. It doesn't always wear luxury, it doesn't always shout its value, but it endures. It keeps growing when you're sleeping, resting, or taking time off. The difference between income and wealth is like the difference between eating fruit and planting trees. Income gives you instant satisfaction, but wealth ensures you never go hungry again. When you live only for income, you're trapped in the cycle of active labor. You wake up, you work, you earn, you spend, and then you start again. You're constantly feeding your present, but starving your future. But when you shift your focus to building wealth, you begin to plant seeds that grow without your constant attention. You begin to think long-term. You ask different questions. Not, how can I make more money? But how can I make money work for me? That's the transformation that separates the financially free from the financially dependent. Person chasing income asks, how can I get paid more for my time? A person building wealth asks, how can I create something that pays me forever? The wealthy understand that time is their most valuable currency, and trading it endlessly for income is financial slavery dressed in professionalism. Assets, businesses, investments, intellectual property that detach their earnings from their effort. That's how you escape the treadmill of active income. That's how you step into the realm of financial independence. To understand the depth of this difference, imagine two people earning the same amount. One makes $5,000 a month as an employee, the other earns $5,000 a month in rental income from a property. The first must continue showing up to work, or the income stops. The second could stop working entirely, and the income would still flow. Both are earning the same number, but their realities are worlds apart. First is working for money, the second has money working for them. That is the essence of wealth. Wealth is not measured by how much you earn in a month. It's measured by how long you could live. If your active income stopped today, income were to end tomorrow, how many months could you survive on your assets alone? The answer to that question reveals your true level of wealth. Some it's a few days. For others, it's years. For the truly wealthy, it's generations. The key to transitioning from income to wealth lies in ownership. You cannot become wealthy renting your time or trading effort for hourly pay. You must own something. Something that produces value even when you're not there. Ownership gives you leverage. Leverage gives you freedom. Every wealthy person understands this fundamental truth. Income buys comfort, but ownership buys control. When you own income producing assets, you control your time, your direction, and your destiny. That's why employees work for entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs work for assets. A pyramid of power built on ownership. The more you own, the freer you become. You don't have to start big. You can begin with small ownership, a small stock portfolio, a digital product, a small business, even a piece of intellectual property, like an ebook or course. What matters is that it earns while you learn, because once you experience the power of passive income, money arriving without your direct labor, you will never see income the same way again. The trap of income is that it often grows alongside expenses. The more people earn, the more they spend. It's called lifestyle inflation. Quietly kills the dream of wealth. Every time your income increases, your desires expand. You get a raise, and you upgrade your car. You make a profit, you buy a bigger house. Before you know it, Your expenses have caught up to your earnings, stuck in the same cycle, just with nicer things. That's not freedom, that's a prettier cage. The wealthy resist that urge. They know that the gap between income and expenses, the surplus, is where wealth begins. They live below their means so they can invest above their peers. They use extra income not to impress, but to invest. Dollar they earn has a purpose. Either it multiplies through investment, or it protects through savings. Wealthy people don't ask, "Can I afford this?" They ask, "Will this bring me closer to freedom or further from it?" That single question defines their decisions and directs their destiny. Wealth is also a game of patience. Income can come quickly, but wealth takes time. Compounding, the eighth wonder of the world, as Einstein called it, only rewards those who wait. The person focused on income seeks instant gratification. The person building wealth seeks long-term growth. The investor who plants capital today may not see results for years, but when the results arrive, they often last a lifetime. That's why building wealth requires emotional maturity. You must be willing to endure boredom, to resist the noise, to let your assets grow quietly while others chase the next big thing. The poor look for quick returns, the wealthy look for permanent ones. Poor chase opportunity, the wealthy build systems. The poor spend on consumption, the wealthy spend on creation. This difference in philosophy compounds over time until it becomes a difference in destiny. Another key difference between income and wealth is how they are taxed and treated by the system. The employee's income is taxed before they spend a single dollar. The investor's wealth, however, grows through capital gains, dividends, and assets that often receive favorable tax treatment. That's why the rich get richer. Not because they cheat, but because they understand the rules of the game. They know that wealth rewards those who structure their money intelligently. While income workers pay taxes first and live on what remains, wealth builders invest first and pay taxes last. This is why financial education is more powerful than financial effort. What you don't know about money will always cost you more than what you do. Income is temporary energy. It keeps you moving but fades with time. Wealth is sustainable power. It keeps you alive financially, even when you rest. The transition from income to wealth begins the moment you decide to stop being paid for your time and start being paid for your thinking. When you create something that earns even when you don't, you've crossed the invisible line into financial freedom. And once you cross it, never want to go back. Income gives you comfort, wealth gives you peace. Income helps you survive, wealth helps you serve. Income fades, wealth compounds. The question isn't how much you earn. It's what your earnings are building. Are they buying liabilities or creating assets? Are they feeding your ego or funding your future? Because the day your money starts working harder than you do, that's the day you become truly free. That's the day you stop earning and start owning. And that's the difference between income and wealth. One disappears when you stop working, other lives on long after you do. Millions. This is where freedom begins. In the mind of the builder. To master wealth, you must first master one simple but powerful distinction. The difference between assets and liabilities. This single understanding separates the wealthy from the struggling, the builders from the spenders, and the free from the trapped. Most people go through life collecting things they believe are assets, only to realize too late that they have been unknowingly building a house of liabilities. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket, while a liability is anything that takes money out of it. That simple definition, introduced by financial thinkers like Robert Kiyosaki, foundation of every fortune ever built. Yet, despite its simplicity, very few people live by it. Society teaches us to value appearance over substance, luxury over leverage, and consumption over creation. We buy things to impress others, to feel accomplished, to look successful. But in reality, we are often purchasing the very chains that hold us back. Every time you buy something that costs you money without producing value in return, are buying a liability. Every time you buy something that earns you money or grows in value, you are buying an asset. The rich spend their lives collecting assets, the poor and middle class spend theirs collecting liabilities disguised as pleasures. Think about it. That new car you bought on a loan feels like a symbol of success, but every month it silently drains you through payments, insurance, fuel, and depreciation. That's not an asset, it's a liability dressed in leather seats. The beautiful house you call your biggest investment may bring pride. It doesn't produce income, it's not an asset. It's a lifestyle expense. On the other hand, a small rental property, a dividend-paying stock, a business that runs without your daily presence, or even a digital product that generates sales while you sleep. Those are assets, money into your life, not take it out. Once you see this clearly, your relationship with money begins to change forever. You stop asking, "Can I afford this?" and start asking, "Will this pay me or drain me?" You begin to evaluate every purchase, every commitment, opportunity through one lens. Is it an asset or a liability? The wealthy make decisions based on return, the poor make decisions based on emotion. Wealth is built not through how much you earn, but through how well you direct what you earn. The reason most people stay broke isn't because they don't make enough money. It's because they constantly spend their income on liabilities instead of converting it into assets. It's not income that builds wealth, it's behavior. A person earning $5,100 a month who invests the $1,000 into income, generating assets will be richer in 5 years than a person earning $20,000 a month who spends it all on image, entertainment, and comfort. Wealth creation begins when you make your money work for you instead of working for your money. Every dollar you earn is a potential employee. If you send it out to work by investing it wisely, it will return with more dollars. If you spend it foolishly, it will never come back. The wealthy treat money like soldiers in an army. They send it out with purpose, conquer new territory, to bring back more value. The poor treat money like guests at a party. It comes in, gets spent, and leaves with nothing to show for it. The mindset difference is everything. Understanding assets and liabilities also means learning to separate personal satisfaction from financial progress. There is nothing wrong with enjoying nice things, but timing and intention matter. You can have luxury, but not at the cost of your freedom. The wealthy buy luxuries last when their assets pay for them. The poor buy luxuries first, and then spend years working to justify them. When you delay gratification and focus on building assets first, your future self lives with abundance instead of anxiety. Imagine if every time you wanted to buy something, you first built or bought an asset that paid for it. Over time, every desire you have would become funded by your investments, not your labor. That's the true path to freedom. Letting your assets pay for your lifestyle instead of your paycheck. Assets can come in many forms: physical, financial, intellectual, and digital. A rental property is an asset because it produces rent. A stock portfolio is an asset because it produces dividends and appreciates over time. A business is an asset if it operates independently and generates profit. Even your ideas can be assets. A book, a song, a course, or a digital product can create income long after the work is done. Knowledge itself is an asset. The more you learn, the more valuable your time becomes. On the other hand, liabilities are not always obvious. They often hide behind comfort, convenience, and vanity. A new car, a bigger house, subscription services you rarely use, expensive habits, and credit card debt. These are silent wealth killers. They don't just cost you money, they cost you opportunity. Every dollar spent on a liability is a dollar that could have been invested in an asset. And the saddest part is that most people don't even realize it's happening. They think they're upgrading their life, when they're actually downgrading their future. The real magic happens when you start flipping the script. When you consciously convert liabilities into assets. That spare room in your house can become a rental unit. That car sitting idle can generate income through platforms. That hobby you love can become a business. That time you spend scrolling on social media can be used to build a personal brand that earns. The world is filled with ways to turn what you already have into something that pays you, but it starts with awareness. Once you see the world through the lens of assets and liabilities, you'll never see it the same again. You'll realize that every decision either moves you closer to freedom or deeper into bondage. You'll stop measuring success by possessions and start measuring it by cash flow. Another truth is that liabilities are seductive because they provide instant gratification, while assets require patience. Buying a car feels good today, but buying stocks feels boring. Until years later when those stocks have multiplied and the car has lost its value. The poor crave excitement, the wealthy crave results. Building assets takes vision, discipline, and consistency. It's not glamorous at first. It's slow, sometimes dull, but over time, it creates a life of peace. And peace is the ultimate luxury. That's why understanding the difference between assets and liabilities is more than just financial education. It's emotional intelligence, learning to delay pleasure today for the sake of power tomorrow. So, let this truth settle deep within you. Every choice you make with money is a vote for your future. Each dollar can either become a seed or a spark. A seed grows into a tree that feeds you, while a spark burns brightly for a moment and dies. The rich plant seeds, the poor chase sparks. Building wealth isn't about luck or even intelligence. It's about understanding where your money flows and choosing to direct it toward growth instead of consumption. Begin to evaluate every expense, every purchase, every financial move through the lens of, does this pay me or cost me? Your financial destiny will begin to change. Wealth is not built in giant leaps but in consistent, conscious decisions made over time. When you fill your life with assets, fill your future with freedom. When you fill it with liabilities, you fill your future with debt and dependency. The choice is always yours. Every single day. The day you start choosing assets over liabilities is the day your journey toward lifelong wealth truly begins. Building your first asset is one of the most empowering steps you will ever take on your journey toward financial freedom, because it's the moment when you stop being a consumer and start becoming a creator. The moment you shift from working for money to letting money work for you. Most people never take this step because they are waiting for the perfect time, the perfect amount of money, or the perfect idea. And while they wait, their dreams collect dust and their opportunities slip quietly away. The wealthy understand that perfection is an illusion and that wealth begins with motion, with starting small, learning fast, and building consistently. First asset doesn't have to be big, complicated, or glamorous. It just needs to exist. It could be a savings account that earns interest, a stock portfolio with small, regular contributions, a digital product you sell online, a piece of land, a vending machine, or a service-based side business that runs independently once set up. The key is to create something that generates income without your constant effort. This is the seed of financial independence, the first brick in the foundation of your empire. When you begin building your first asset, your mindset is far more important than your money. You must understand that the goal isn't to get rich overnight, but to create something that grows steadily and sustainably. Most people fail because they chase quick returns or shiny opportunities instead of focusing on something they understand and can manage. The first rule of asset creation is this: build what you understand and understand what you build. If you love technology, consider creating a digital product. If you're interested in real estate, start by learning how rental properties work. If you're good at teaching, write a course or start a YouTube channel that can later be monetized. The path doesn't matter as much as the principle. Build something that serves others, creates value, and pays you back. Every great asset begins with service. When you create something that helps others, the universe rewards you with wealth. Now, the process of building your first asset can feel intimidating because it requires a shift in how you think about work and money. In a job equals income, you trade time for pay. But in asset creation, effort equals equity. The value you create can pay you forever. At first, it feels like you're working for free because you're putting in time without seeing immediate returns. But the returns of asset creation come later. The first phase is creation, where you invest energy, discipline, and learning. The second phase is growth, where the asset begins to produce small results. The third is scaling, where the income grows faster than your effort. And finally, the fourth is freedom, where your asset pays you consistently without your daily involvement. That's when you've built something powerful, a machine that earns for you even while you sleep. The most difficult part is starting. Fear, doubt, comparison often paralyze people before they even begin. You might think, I don't have enough money. But remember, most great fortunes started with very little capital and a lot of creativity. You might think, I don't have enough time. But time is created through discipline. The truth is, you will never have enough of anything when you start, but that's exactly why you must start now. The act of starting changes you. It builds confidence, skill, and momentum. The wealthy don't wait for opportunities, they create them. They know that every big oak tree was once just an acorn planted in faith. Your first asset might seem small, but if you nurture it with patience and persistence, it will grow beyond your imagination. When building your first asset, focus on 3 essential ingredients: knowledge, consistency, and reinvestment. Knowledge gives you direction. You must study the game you're playing, understand the market, the risks, the strategies, and the patterns of success. Consistency builds momentum. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be persistent. A small, consistent investment of time and effort compounds faster than bursts of enthusiasm, followed by inactivity, and reinvestment is the fuel that multiplies your results. When your asset starts paying you, resist the temptation to spend the profits. Instead, reinvest them to make the asset stronger and more profitable. This is how wealth snowballs. You plant one seed, nurture it until it grows fruit, then use the fruit to plant more trees. Over time, your forest of assets grows dense enough to provide you with shade and nourishment for life. Also crucial to protect your mindset while building your first asset. The world will not always understand what you're doing. Friends and family may doubt you, critics may mock you, and challenges will test your resolve. But remember, every builder walks through doubt before walking into freedom. When you're building something of your own, you're stepping out of the system that teaches dependency and entering the world of ownership. And ownership always demands courage. There will be failures, mistakes, and moments of uncertainty, but those are not signs of defeat, they are signs of growth. Every successful entrepreneur, investor, and wealth builder has failed more times than they've succeeded. But each failure taught them something their competitors never learned. Fear failure, fear stagnation. Don't seek comfort, seek clarity. Your first asset will also teach you how to manage money differently. Of thinking about income and expenses, you'll start thinking about cash flow and capital. You'll begin to see how money can be redirected, recycled, and reinvested to multiply itself. For example, a simple online business that earns $200 a month might not seem like much at first, but that $200 can be used to buy shares in a dividend-paying stock which generates even more income over time. The chain reaction begins. One asset funds another, and before long, you've created a self-sustaining financial ecosystem. This is how wealth builders think. They use the profits from one asset to create the next. That's the compounding effect of ownership. The first asset you build doesn't just change your bank account. It changes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as an employee and start seeing yourself as an investor, a creator, a builder of wealth. You begin to understand that freedom is not given, it's built. And the first asset is your proof that you can do it. It's your declaration of independence from the endless chase of earning and spending. It's the moment you realize that you can create value, your ideas have worth, and that your future can be designed, not just endured. So, take this to heart. Your first asset doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. Don't wait for the stars to align or for the world to approve. Start where you are, with what you have, and grow from there. Learn, build, fail, rebuild, and keep going. Once you create your first asset, the one that pays you without demanding your time, you'll never look at money the same way again. That first stream of income, however small, is not just money. It's proof that you have begun the journey to financial freedom, and once you taste that kind of independence, you'll never settle for anything less again. First asset is not just a financial milestone. It's the birth of your wealth-building mindset, the spark that will light the fire of prosperity that burns for the rest of your life. Passive income is the heartbeat of true financial freedom, the golden key that unlocks the door to a life where your money, your ideas, and your assets work for you even when you are not working. It is the great equalizer, the force that allows ordinary people with extraordinary discipline to build empires without trading every waking hour for a paycheck. Most people spend their lives chasing active income. Wages, salaries, commissions, the kind of money that disappears the moment you stop showing up. Passive income, on the other hand, is the opposite of that grind. It is income that continues to flow even when you are resting, traveling, sleeping, focusing on things you truly love. Imagine waking up in the morning and realizing that money has entered your account while you slept. That's the magic of passive income, but it is not magic in the sense of luck or mystery. It is magic born of intention, design, and discipline. It's the reward for thinking long-term, for choosing ownership over labor, and for creating systems that don't depend on your daily presence. Passive income is the highest form of leverage. It's how you multiply your time, your impact, your wealth beyond what's humanly possible with effort alone. To understand its power, you first need to realize that there are two types of effort in life: linear and leveraged. Linear effort means you are paid only when you work. It's limited by your time and energy. Leveraged effort means your work continues to pay you even after it's done. For example, when you write a book, design a digital course, invest in rental property, or build a business that operates without your constant involvement, you've entered the world of leverage. Wealthy understand this deeply. Your full attention. They know that passive income is not about doing nothing. It's about building something once that pays you repeatedly. The poor and middle class work for money, but the wealthy build systems, investments, and intellectual property that work for them. The difference is not intelligence. It's awareness. Once you understand that your time is the most limited resource you have, you begin to realize that trading it endlessly for money is a losing game. You cannot outwork time, but you can outsmart it. By building streams of income that keep flowing long after your initial effort is done. The beauty of passive income is that it turns financial survival into financial freedom. When your bills are paid by money that arrives without your constant labor, you no longer live in fear of losing a job, falling ill, or running out of energy. You reclaim the most valuable currency of all, time. Time to think, to create, to rest, to connect, and to grow. Imagine how different your life would feel if you knew your rent, your groceries, your utilities, and your family's needs were covered by income that arrived automatically every month. You'd wake up lighter, calmer, and more creative. That's not a dream. That's a design. The wealthy design their lives around passive income because it allows them to choose how they spend their days. Passive income doesn't just buy you financial freedom, it buys you emotional freedom, mental clarity, and the power to live life on your own terms. But let's be clear, passive income is not instant income. It takes effort, time, and sometimes money to set up. Passive doesn't mean lazy. It means systemized. You must first build the machine before it can run on its own. Whether that machine is a real estate portfolio, a dividend-paying stock account, a digital product, a content platform, or a business with automated systems, requires effort up front. The process may take months or years, but the reward is exponential. Planting an orchard. You spend time cultivating the soil, planting seeds, and watering them. In the beginning, looks like nothing is happening, but beneath the surface, roots are forming. And once the trees mature, they bear fruit season after season with little maintenance. That's passive income, the fruit of long-term thinking and patience. Biggest mistake people make is quitting too early because they don't see immediate results. Wealth builders know that patience is a superpower. They play the long game. There are many forms of passive income, and each suits different personalities, skills, and financial situations. Real estate investments are one of the most classic examples. Buying rental properties or real estate investment trusts or REITs can generate steady monthly income. Paying stocks reward investors regularly for holding shares in profitable companies. Online businesses, such as affiliate marketing, e-commerce, subscription-based platforms, can provide digital streams of income with minimal maintenance once established. Creating intellectual property, like writing a book, producing a song, or building an app, can bring royalties for years. Even building a personal brand on platforms like YouTube or podcasting can create passive income through ad revenue and sponsorships. The point is, give them. The opportunities are endless. What matters is that you choose something aligned with your skills, interests, and resources. You don't have to master all forms, you just have to start with one and nurture it until it becomes self-sustaining. The journey to building passive income is also a journey of personal transformation. It forces you to shift your mindset from consumer to creator, from spender to investor, from worker to owner. It teaches you discipline, patience, and strategy. It demands that you learn how to manage risk, understand money, and leverage technology. It's not easy, but it's worth it, because once you taste the freedom of passive income, you'll never want to live any other way. You'll begin to see your time differently. No longer as something to be sold, but as something to be invested. Every hour you spend creating something that can outlive your effort becomes sacred. You stop wasting time on distractions and start building things that matter. Passive income teaches you that wealth is not about working harder, it's about working smarter and designing systems that don't depend on you forever. Perhaps the most powerful aspect of passive income is how it compounds. The beginning, your first stream might be small, maybe $50 a month from a digital product or $100 in dividends from a stock portfolio. It might seem insignificant, but every stream you build adds another layer of security and freedom. One stream becomes two become four. Soon your passive income begins to rival your active income. Eventually, you reach the point where your passive income exceeds your expenses. That's when you've achieved financial freedom. At that moment, work becomes a choice, not a necessity. You work because you want to, not because you have to. You can take risks, explore passions, live life on your own schedule. That's the true power of passive income. It gives you back control over your life. But beyond the numbers and systems, passive income gives you something deeper. Peace of mind. It silences the anxiety of living paycheck to paycheck, fear of losing your job, the stress of bills that never end. It replaces those feelings with calm confidence, because you know your money is working even when you're not. It's not about greed, it's about freedom. About reclaiming your life from the endless grind and choosing a path of independence and abundance. And the best part is, anyone can do it. You don't need to be born rich, have special connections, or win the lottery. You just need to decide that you will stop working only for money and start building systems that make money work for you. That decision, once made and acted upon, changes everything. So, remember this truth: passive income is not a fantasy reserved for the elite. It's a strategy available to anyone willing to learn, build, and stay consistent. It's not built overnight, but once built, it pays you for life. It's the quiet force that separates financial struggle from financial serenity. And when you experience the moment where your assets pay your bills, your dreams, and your desires, you'll know the true power of passive income. That's the day you stop working for money, and money starts working for you. Forever. Every person on this planet possesses something powerful. A unique set of skills, experiences, and perspectives that, when used correctly, can become the foundation of lifelong wealth. Yet, most people never realize that their skills can be transformed into income, generating assets. They see them only as tools for earning a paycheck. The truth is, Your skills are seeds, and each one has the potential to grow into a tree that produces income long after you've planted it. Turning your skills into assets is the art of shifting from exchanging time for money to creating value that pays you repeatedly. It's about converting your knowledge, talent, and passion into something that serves others, creates impact, and earns income. Not once, but again and again, the modern world has made this transformation more possible than ever before. With technology platforms and global reach, you no longer need permission to profit from what you know. You only need vision, execution, and consistency. The person who learns to monetize their skills through scalable systems steps into the realm of wealth creation. A space where your mind, not your muscle, becomes your greatest source of income. The first step in turning your skills into income generating assets is awareness. You must identify what you're good at. Not just what you do at work, but what you naturally do well, what others seek your help for, what problems you can solve with ease. Every skill, no matter how small or ordinary it seems, holds potential value. The ability to teach, to write, organize, to communicate, to fix, to design, to sell, to motivate, all of these can become the foundation of an asset if you find the right way to package and deliver them. The wealthy don't think of skills as static abilities, they see them as tools for leverage. For example, a teacher can create an online course, an artist can sell digital prints, a cook can publish recipes or run a YouTube channel, a programmer can develop an app, a consultant can build a paid membership community. Your skills are the raw material, the internet is the factory, your creativity is the engine that transforms effort into income. Once you see your skills this way, perspective changes forever. You stop asking, "Who will hire me?" and start asking, "How can I serve more people with what I already know?" That question is the beginning of freedom. Turn your skill into an asset. You must understand the principle of scalability. In a job, you can serve only one employer at a time. Time limits your income. But when you turn your skill into a product, service, or system, you multiply your reach. For example, if you're a personal trainer, you can coach 10 people in a week. But if you record your training sessions and sell them online, you can reach thousands without adding more hours. If you're a writer, you can freelance for one client, or you can publish a book that sells worldwide. Scalability turns effort into equity. It's the secret to building assets out of skills. The moment your skill starts earning money, without you repeating the same effort daily, it has become an asset. The internet has leveled the playing field. You don't need a massive business to begin. You just need to take your knowledge, package it digitally, and make it available to others. Whether through ebooks, courses, consulting systems, apps, or content platforms, your skill can reach across continents and pay you while you sleep. But building an income, generating asset from your skills requires more than creativity. It requires structure. You must move from talent to transformation. Talent is what you can do. Transformation is what others gain from it. People don't pay for your skills, they pay for the results those skills create. So the key question becomes, how does my skill solve a problem or improve someone's life? Once you identify the problem you can solve, you build your asset around that solution. If you're a financial advisor, your asset could be a course that teaches financial literacy. If you're a designer, your asset could be templates that help small businesses create professional branding. If you're a motivational speaker, asset could be an online community or podcast. The path you choose must turn your skill into value. that others are willing to exchange money for. Every skill becomes powerful when it is attached to a need. The world rewards problem solvers, and your skills are the tools for solving those problems. Consistency is the next key ingredient. Turning a skill into an asset is not an overnight process. It takes time, testing, and refinement. You'll create, you'll fail, you'll learn, and you'll rebuild. And each iteration will make your asset stronger. The first version might not succeed, but the process itself teaches you how to build better. Think of your skill as a muscle. The more you use it in the marketplace, the stronger and more valuable it becomes. And once you create your first income-generating result, no matter how small, something changes inside you. You realize that you can create money from within, not by waiting for a paycheck, but by producing value. That moment is life-changing. You stop seeing yourself as an employee and start seeing yourself as a creator of wealth. That identity shift is what separates those who struggle from those who prosper. Technology has made monetizing your skills easier than ever. You can teach on platforms like Udemy or Skillshare, write on Substack, design on Etsy, offer freelance services on Fiverr, build a digital store on Shopify, or grow a following on YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram and monetize through ads, sponsorships, or digital products. But technology is only the tool. The power lies in your consistency and creativity. The secret is to start simple. Don't wait for the perfect product. Start with what you have as you go and build momentum. Each small step compounds over time. Remember, great business started as a simple skill multiplied through systems. Apple started with Steve Jobs' design vision. Amazon started with Jeff Bezos selling books online. Every influencer, course creator, and digital entrepreneur began with one skill they chose to share with the world. Another crucial mindset to embrace is reinvestment. Once your skill begins generating income, reinvest a portion of it to enhance your tools, marketing, or education. Reinvestment is how you scale faster. For example, if your online course earns $500, use part of that to improve your video quality, build a website, or run ads to reach more people. The goal is to build momentum until your income-generating skill becomes a self-sustaining asset that grows without constant input. Over time, one skill-based asset can evolve into a portfolio. Multiple courses, products, or income streams that together form your personal wealth ecosystem. The most beautiful part of turning your skills into assets is the fulfillment it brings. You're not just earning money. You're creating impact. You're helping people, sharing your knowledge, and leaving behind something that lasts. Money earned from your skills feels different because it comes from your authenticity, your creativity, and your service to others. It's proof that you don't need to depend on anyone else to create opportunity. You can generate it from your own mind and effort. And once you experience that, you will never see work the same way again. So, remember this: your skills are not just for survival. They are instruments of freedom. Every hour you've spent learning, practicing, perfecting something has built equity within you. Invisible capital waiting to be released. The sooner you turn that invisible capital into tangible assets, the sooner you step into financial independence. Don't underestimate what you already know. Don't undervalue what you can already do. The world is full of people who need your knowledge, your talent, creativity, but they can't benefit from it until you share it. Your first digital course, your first book, your first online business, your first brand. These are not just projects, they are bridges between your potential and your prosperity. Once you build your first income, generating asset from your skills, you will realize that the greatest wealth was inside you all along. That's the power of self-made success. Turning what you know into what you own, letting that ownership pay you for the rest of your life. The true difference between wealth and poverty is not money. It is mindset. Money is a reflection, not the root. It mirrors how a person thinks, decides, and acts over time. Two people can earn the same income, live in the same city, and have the same opportunities, yet one builds an empire while the other struggles to stay afloat. Why? Because their minds are wired differently. The wealthy think in terms of creation, growth, and ownership, while the poor think in terms of survival, consumption, and security. Wealth begins not in your wallet, but in your mind. Every fortune ever built started as a thought. A belief that something more was possible, that money could serve as a tool for freedom, not fear. The poor often see money as something to be earned and spent. The wealthy see it as something to be multiplied and controlled. The poor think about having enough to get by. Wealthy think about creating abundance that lasts for generations. The gap between them isn't intelligence, it's perception. The poor ask, "Can I afford it?" while the wealthy ask, "How can I afford it?" One question ends the conversation, the other opens possibility. The wealthy mindset operates on the principle of ownership and leverage. The wealthy know that time is more valuable than money because time cannot be replaced. They use money to buy time, while the poor use time to chase money. The poor trade their hours for paychecks, believing hard work alone guarantees success, but the wealthy understand that it's not just hard work. It's smart work. The wealthy focus on systems, not shifts. Structures that continue to pay them long after they stop working. A poor mindset says, "I work to earn." A wealthy mindset says, "I build to own." The difference is profound because ownership creates freedom. When you own assets, businesses, intellectual property, or investments, your money works for you, not the other way around. That is why the wealthy invest in knowledge, networks, tools that multiply their time and value. The poor invest in comfort, entertainment, and status. Things that decay over time. People buy assets, poor people buy liabilities disguised as rewards. One builds a future, the other buys a feeling. Another major difference is how they view risk. The poor fear losing money, while the wealthy fear losing opportunity. The poor say, "What if it doesn't work?" The wealthy say, "What if it does?" The poor cling to security, even if it means staying stuck, while the wealthy embrace uncertainty, because they know growth lives on the other side of discomfort. The poor mindset sees failure as final, wealthy mindset sees failure as feedback. To the wealthy, every mistake is a lesson, every setback a seed of wisdom, every loss a tuition payment to the school of success. This resilience gives them power, because they understand that success is not a straight line. It's a series of pivots, recoveries, and rebounds. The poor fear rejection, the wealthy seek direction. They're willing to learn from experience, mentors, and markets, adapting constantly instead of staying paralyzed by fear. This mindset makes them unstoppable because they don't depend on perfect conditions. They create conditions through action. The wealthy also think in long-term horizons. The poor look for immediate gratification. The next paycheck, the next bonus, the next pleasure. The wealthy delay gratification, knowing that compound growth takes time. They plant trees today for shade tomorrow. The poor want to eat the fruit immediately. The wealthy plant orchards that feed generations. This patience is the foundation of compounding wealth. When a poor-minded person receives money, they think about spending it. When a wealthy-minded person receives money, they think about multiplying it. This is why the same income can lead to two entirely different outcomes. One person ends up broke, and the other ends up free. The poor focus on income, the wealthy focus on cash flow. The poor think in weeks, the wealthy think in decades. The poor see money as scarce, the wealthy see it as abundant, flowing, and constantly circulating to those who know how to use it wisely. Another key difference is how they view learning. The poor see education as something that ends after school. The wealthy see it as a lifelong pursuit. The wealthy constantly invest in their growth, reading books, attending seminars, hiring mentors, studying trends, and surrounding themselves with people who think bigger. The poor think they already know enough. The wealthy think they're just getting started. The poor spend money to escape reality. The wealthy spend money to expand it. The poor watch entertainment. The wealthy study information. This endless hunger for growth keeps the wealthy ahead of the curve, always adapting while others stay stuck. They understand that their mind is their greatest asset. Everything else can be lost or rebuilt, but a strong, educated mind can recreate wealth from nothing. That's why even when wealthy people lose money, they often rebuild it faster than others could imagine, because they haven't lost the mindset that created it. Mindset of the wealthy is also rooted in responsibility. The poor often blame circumstances, the economy, their boss, the system, luck, while the wealthy take ownership of their outcomes. They know that no one is coming to save them, so they become their own rescue. The poor wait for opportunities, the wealthy create them. The poor complain about problems, the wealthy look for solutions. This shift from victimhood to responsibility is what transforms lives. When you take full responsibility for your financial life, you regain control, stop being a passenger and become the driver. That's when everything begins to change. The wealthy never say, "I can't." They say, "How can I?" That one difference in language reveals an entire philosophy. Limitation versus creation. Wealthy people also understand the power of association. They know that mindset is contagious. They surround themselves with others who challenge, inspire, push them to grow. The poor often surround themselves with people who complain, criticize, and compete. The wealthy network, the poor gossip. The wealthy collaborate, the poor compare. The wealthy understand that environment shapes behavior, and behavior shapes results. That's why they deliberately build circles that elevate them instead of drain them. You cannot think like a millionaire if you spend all your time around people who think like victims. Change your environment, and your mindset will follow. Finally, the wealthy view money as a servant, not a master. They use money to create freedom, impact, and legacy. The poor let money control their emotions. Joy when it arrives, fear when it leaves. The wealthy are calm around money because they understand it's just energy, flowing to where it's respected and managed. The poor chase money, wealthy attract it. They attract it because they create value, solve problems, and operate with purpose. Money follows value, and value comes from mindset. The poor think, "I need money to be free." The wealthy think, "I need freedom to make money." That inversion of thought changes everything. So, if you want to shift from scarcity to abundance, by changing how you think. Stop saying, "I can't afford it," and start asking, "How can I afford it?" Stop thinking about spending money, thinking about multiplying it. Stop chasing income, and start building assets. Stop fearing failure, and start using it as fuel. Wealth is a mindset first, a bank account second. The person who changes their thinking about money changes their destiny with money. The difference between the wealthy and the poor isn't luck, birth, or education. It's belief. Wealthy people believe they can create, control, grow money. Poor people believe money controls them. And as long as that belief remains, so does the limitation. The moment you shift, truly shift, and begin to think like a builder, a creator, an investor, everything starts to align. Opportunities appear where there were once obstacles. Money starts to flow instead of flee, and slowly, surely, you realize that wealth was never something to chase. It was something to think your way into. Discipline is the invisible bridge that connects dreams to reality, vision to achievement, and goals to results. It is the quiet force that transforms potential into progress and ideas into income. In the pursuit of wealth, is not just important, it is everything. Talent may open doors, intelligence may create opportunities, and luck may spark momentum, but only discipline sustains success. Without discipline, wealth slips through your fingers as quickly as it comes. With discipline, small beginnings compound into lasting prosperity. The wealthy understand this truth deeply. They know that riches are not built in bursts of excitement, but in the quiet consistency of daily habits. Discipline is the art of doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it, of saying no to distractions, and of mastering yourself before you attempt to master money. The poor often chase shortcuts and instant results, while the wealthy build systems, routines, and habits that lead to consistent outcomes. Every act of discipline creates a ripple effect. In your finances, in your character, and in your destiny. The wealth you build on discipline will stand firm through any storm, because it's built not on luck but on principle. Discipline in wealth creation starts with clarity, knowing what you want and why you want it. You can't be disciplined about something vague. The wealthy are precise about their goals, how much they want to earn, how much they want to save, and what kind of lifestyle they are building toward. They track their progress like an athlete tracks performance, because what gets measured gets improved. The poor, on the other hand, often operate without direction, reacting to financial problems as they arise. Discipline gives structure to your financial life. It turns chaos into order. It begins with simple acts: budgeting, saving before spending, investing regularly, reviewing accounts, and saying no to unnecessary expenses. Each of these acts might seem small, but together they create a financial rhythm. A pattern of behavior that leads to control, confidence, and eventually, abundance. Discipline means you don't spend emotionally, you spend intentionally. You don't invest impulsively, you invest intelligently. And when you start to live with that kind of purpose, your financial future begins to align naturally with your goals. Essence of discipline lies in consistency. Anyone can be disciplined for a week, but true discipline lasts for years. It's about showing up, even when you're tired, saving even when it feels insignificant, learning even when it's inconvenient, planning even when others are partying. It's waking up early to work on your goals, resisting short-term pleasures for long-term gain, delaying gratification until your dreams are real. The poor mindset seeks comfort. The wealthy mindset seeks growth. Growth demands discomfort. The kind of discomfort that refines you, tests you, and ultimately strengthens you. Discipline is that daily decision to choose growth over ease. It is saying no to spending $500 on a designer item so you can invest it instead. It is refusing to give up when your business hits a slow month. It is sticking to your budget, your workout, your reading routine, your investment plan, every single day. Wealthy people don't become rich overnight. They become rich by doing the right things consistently, quietly, flawlessly. Discipline also applies to learning. Financial literacy is not built in a single seminar or book, built through continuous education and practice. The wealthy dedicate time every day to reading, studying markets, observing trends, and learning from mentors. They know that knowledge is power only when combined with consistent application. A poor mindset treats learning as optional. A wealthy mindset treats it as mandatory. Discipline means setting aside time each day to expand your financial intelligence, to learn about assets, cash flow, investments and taxes, and then acting on that knowledge. The wealthy do not wait for perfect timing or external motivation. They move forward consistently, adjusting as they go. This intellectual discipline creates a compounding effect. The more you learn and apply, the more you grow, and the easier it becomes to stay disciplined, because your results begin to validate your effort. Emotional discipline is equally crucial. Creation is not a straight line, it's a series of ups and downs, wins and losses, markets rising and falling, plans succeeding and failing. Without emotional control, you'll make poor decisions under stress. Selling when you should be buying, spending when you should be saving, quitting when you should be persisting. The wealthy learn to master their emotions so that fear, greed, and impatience don't dictate their financial actions. When the market crashes, they see opportunity. When times get tough, they stay focused. The poor react emotionally, the wealthy respond rationally. Emotional discipline is about staying calm when others panic, patient when others rush, and grounded when others lose balance. It's about training your mind to focus on the long game and not be swayed by the noise of the moment. Money flows toward emotional stability because stability allows clarity, and clarity leads to sound decisions. Another form of discipline that wealthy people practice is time discipline. They understand that time is the most valuable currency of all. They guard it fiercely, invest it wisely, and waste it rarely. The poor spend time as carelessly as they spend money, while the wealthy treat every hour as an investment. Time discipline means organizing your days around priorities that move you closer to financial freedom. It means turning off distractions, scheduling deep work, and surrounding yourself with productive environments. It means choosing to spend time with people who uplift you instead of drain you. Wealthy people don't just discipline their spending. They discipline their schedule. They know that time management is wealth management, because how you use your time determines how much value you create. And value creation is the foundation of all wealth. The path to wealth also demands social discipline. This means having the strength to stand firm in your goals, even when others mock or misunderstand you. Many people fail financially not because they lack skill, but because they lack the courage to stay disciplined. When surrounded by undisciplined people, they give in to peer pressure, trends, and the illusion of success portrayed by others. The wealthy have learned to say no. No to gossip. No to drama. No to unnecessary outings. No to things that drain energy without producing value. They understand that success often requires isolation, focus, and sacrifice. The discipline to walk your own path, even when it's unpopular, separates the dreamers from the doers. Not rise above average by acting like the average. Financial discipline ultimately leads to financial freedom. When you consistently save, invest, live below your means, you create surplus. And that surplus becomes capital, which becomes investments, which becomes passive income. The wealthy follow this formula with precision: earn, save, invest, repeat. They automate their savings, allocate money to assets first, only what remains. The poor do the opposite. They spend first, save what's left, which is often nothing, wonder why they can't get ahead. Discipline reverses this pattern. It gives you control over your money instead of letting money control you. Over time, disciplined behavior compounds into extraordinary results. Just as compound interest grows silently but powerfully, so does the discipline behind it. In the end, discipline is not about deprivation. It's about direction. It's not about denying yourself pleasure, but delaying it for something greater. Not about being rigid, but being consistent. The discipline you develop today is the freedom you enjoy tomorrow. Every choice you make, dollar you save, every hour you dedicate builds a foundation for the future you desire. The poor wait for motivation. The wealthy act from discipline. Motivation fades with emotion, but discipline endures through commitment. Discipline is wealth in motion. It is the quiet daily effort that no one sees but everyone admires once results appear. If you master discipline, wealth will follow you naturally, because discipline ensures that every action you take moves you closer to prosperity. Remember this truth: success is rented, and the rent is due every day. Discipline is how you pay it. The secret to true financial freedom lies in one powerful principle: depend on a single source of income. The most dangerous number in money is one job, one client, one product, one paycheck. When your entire livelihood depends on one stream, you are always one decision, one crisis, or one market change away from financial collapse. Wealthy people understand this truth deeply, which is why they build multiple streams of income that flow together to create stability, security, abundance. They know that when one stream dries up, others keep flowing, allowing them to stay afloat and continue growing. Multiple streams of income are not just about earning more money. They are about building a system that supports you, protects you, and pays you forever. Give your full attention. It's about designing a life where money comes from different directions, working for you even when you're not working for it. The average millionaire has at least 7 streams of income, each serving a different purpose: some for security, some for growth, and some for legacy. This chapter will open your eyes to the art and discipline of creating those streams, starting with the mindset that wealth is built on diversification, not dependence. To build multiple streams of income, you must first build a foundation. The foundation is your primary income, the source that currently supports your life, whether it's a job, business, or freelance work. You can't multiply what doesn't exist, so your first goal is to strengthen your base. Use that primary income not as your destination, as your launch pad. Save a portion of it, invest it, and use it to develop new income channels. The mistake many people make is spending everything they earn. The wealthy, however, live on less than they make and direct the surplus toward new opportunities. Every dollar saved becomes a soldier in your army of wealth, ready to fight for your financial independence. The poor see money as something to be spent. The wealthy see money as something to be deployed. Once your financial base is strong, you can begin building new streams strategically, each one designed to move you closer to freedom. The first type of income stream is earned income, the money you make by trading your time and skills for pay. This could be your job, freelancing, or consulting work. It's usually the first stream everyone starts with, but it's also the most limited, because it depends on your active effort. The key is to use earned income wisely, not to live lavishly, but to build assets. This leads to the second stream, profit income, which comes from business ownership. When you start a business, whether online or offline, you move from employee to entrepreneur, working for money to controlling how money is made. Business income has no ceiling, it's driven by value creation, not hours worked. From there, the next stream is investment income, which comes from your money working for you through dividends, interest, or capital gains. This is the stream that truly buys freedom because it requires no direct labor. Your money earns while you sleep. Then comes rental income, which is generated by owning property, whether real estate, vehicles, or even digital assets like websites or online stores. Rental income is powerful because it combines the security of ownership with the consistency of cash flow. Another key stream is royalty or licensing income, which comes from intellectual property, books, music, patents, designs, or online courses. This is where creativity becomes currency. You create something once and get paid repeatedly for its use. The wealthy understand the importance of intellectual property because it scales infinitely without additional labor. Then there's commission income, earned by helping others sell or succeed. This includes affiliate marketing, sales partnerships, and referrals. Finally, there's portfolio or residual income, where profits continue to flow from past efforts, such as business systems, brand deals, or automated sales funnels. Each of these streams represents a different engine of wealth, and when combined, create financial resilience, the ability to thrive no matter what happens in the economy. However, building multiple streams of income doesn't mean chasing 10 ideas at once. It means building one stream strong enough to fund the next. The wealthy build income sequentially, not simultaneously. They master one skill, one business, or one investment before moving on to another. Poor scatter their focus and end up with many weak streams that dry up quickly. The wealthy concentrate, compound, and then expand. The process is like building a river system. Your main river, primary income, feeds smaller streams, secondary incomes, which together create a powerful flow of wealth. Each new stream should be designed to complement or enhance the others, not compete with them. For example, for a content creator, your main income may come from ads, but you can add streams like affiliate marketing, product sales, and online courses. If you're a real estate investor, your streams may include rental properties, real estate consulting, and property management. The secret is synergy, making every stream support the others so your wealth ecosystem grows stronger with time. Discipline plays a major role here. Creating multiple income streams takes patience, planning, and persistence. Each stream requires upfront effort, learning, and sometimes risk. The wealthy understand this and approach diversification strategically, not emotionally. They research, test, and refine. They don't rush into every trend. They build steadily, based on their strengths and interests. They invest time in learning new skills like investing, online marketing, or automation, because knowledge multiplies opportunity. Poor often look for quick results, get rich quick schemes, and lose money chasing illusions. The wealthy focus on long-term systems that keep producing income regardless of circumstances. They know that building one strong stream takes time, but the payoff is exponential because once it's flowing, it continues to feed them forever. Technology has made this process more accessible than ever. You can start a digital business, build an online course, sell products, invest in stocks, trade crypto, or earn royalties, all from your laptop. You can automate, scale, and reach global audiences without massive capital. but the principle remains the same: focus, create, and reinvest. For instance, first income stream is a job. Use your savings to invest in stocks or mutual funds. Then use the profits from those investments to start an online business. As that business grows, invest in real estate. Each step funds the next. Over time, your streams begin to intersect. Your investments pay for your business funds your property generates rent that covers your lifestyle, and your royalties create surplus for philanthropy. That's how financial ecosystems are built, one disciplined decision at a time. Another crucial truth is that not all streams are about money. Some are about meaning. The wealthiest individuals build streams that align with their purpose. Teaching, creating, mentoring, innovating. These streams not only provide income but also fulfillment. They ensure that your wealth serves a higher goal, not just personal comfort. Wealth creation happens when your streams of income reflect who you are and what you love. Money then becomes a byproduct of value creation, not the sole pursuit. Building multiple streams of income is not about greed. It's about freedom. It's about creating stability so that your family is secure, your future is protected, and your time is truly your own. When you have multiple streams, you move from survival to sovereignty. From being controlled by money to controlling it. No longer panic when one door closes because you have others open. Each stream is a pillar of independence. Together they form the foundation of generational wealth. Remember this truth: a single stream can make you rich, but multiple streams will keep you rich. The goal is not just to make money, but to build a system that keeps making money. Automatically, continuously, and sustainably. When you reach that point, you no longer work for money. Money works for you, endlessly, effortlessly, forever. Financial education is the foundation of all lasting wealth. It is the invisible engine that drives every fortune, the quiet force behind every empire, and the greatest equalizer in a world where money influences almost every part of life. The truth is simple but profound. You cannot master what you do not understand, and money is no exception. Most people spend their lives working for money without ever learning how it truly works. They study for years to earn degrees, but not to understand debt, assets, cash flow, or investments. As a result, they remain trapped in cycles of financial struggle, no matter how hard they work. Wealthy people, on the other hand, make financial education a lifelong pursuit. They know that money obeys certain rules, and those who understand the rules win. They study money the way scientists study nature. They observe, experiment, learn, and adapt. They realize that financial education is not about memorizing formulas, but about developing financial intelligence. The ability to make smart decisions with money in any situation. Continuous learning is what separates those who earn temporarily from those who build wealth permanently. The moment you stop learning, your growth stops. In a world that changes daily, stagnation is the beginning of decline. Financial education begins with awareness. Understanding the language of money, must learn the difference between assets and liabilities, income and cash flow, savings and investment, good debt and bad debt. Most people go through life confusing these terms, and that confusion costs them freedom. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out. It doesn't matter how beautiful your house or car looks. If it drains your income instead of generating it, it's a liability. The wealthy understand this distinction deeply, and they structure their financial lives around owning assets, not liabilities. Every dollar they earn is directed towards something that multiplies over time. stocks, real estate, businesses, intellectual property, or systems. Financially uneducated people, however, spend their money on things that depreciate. Consumer goods, status symbols, comforts that provide short-term satisfaction but long-term regret. Financial education teaches you to make decisions today that your future self will thank you for. It shifts your mindset from consumption to creation, from spending to investing, from fear to understanding. The importance of financial education is magnified by the fact that the world of money is constantly evolving. The financial landscape of today is vastly different from that of 10 or even 5 years ago. Cryptocurrencies, decentralized finance, given artificial intelligence in trading, and digital entrepreneurship have created new pathways to wealth, but also new risks. The uneducated see these changes as confusing, the educated see them as opportunities. Continuous learning allows you to adapt and profit in a changing economy. Wealthy people read financial news, study market trends, attend seminars, and learn from mentors. They treat knowledge as currency, and every new insight as a potential investment. They know that the best investment they can ever make is in their own mind. Unlike material possessions, knowledge cannot be stolen, taxed, or destroyed. It compounds over time and multiplies your earning power. The more you learn, the more you can earn, because financial intelligence sharpens your decision-making, reduces mistakes, and amplifies opportunities. Financial education also builds confidence, the kind of calm certainty that allows you to take risks wisely. The poor fear money because they don't understand it. They see it as a source of stress, while the educated see it as a tool for freedom. When you understand how money flows, you stop reacting to it emotionally. You make rational decisions, not desperate ones. See opportunities others miss because you can analyze situations logically. You stop chasing high returns blindly and start building consistent, sustainable growth. Knowledge gives you power, the power to negotiate better deals, identify good investments, protect yourself from scams and manipulation. In a world full of financial traps, education is your shield. Every piece of financial knowledge you acquire is a layer of armor that keeps you safe and helps you thrive. Continuous learning is not limited to books and courses. It's about being a student of life. Every financial experience, good or bad, teaches a lesson. Wealthy don't fear mistakes, they analyze them. They ask, what can I learn from this? After every loss or setback. Poor-minded people, on the other hand, repeat the same mistakes because they never stop to reflect. They blame circumstances instead of studying outcomes. Financially educated individuals use every experience as data. They refine their strategies, improve their judgment, and keep moving forward. The more you learn, the faster you recover, because knowledge shortens your learning curve. Success is not about avoiding mistakes, about learning faster than others. The one who learns the most, wins the most. Mentorship plays a crucial role in financial education. The wealthy seek out people who have achieved what they aspire to. They invest in coaching, attend conferences, join mastermind groups, because they understand that proximity accelerates progress. Learning from someone who has already traveled the path saves years of trial and error. The poor often see mentorship as an expense. The wealthy see it as an investment. The right mentor can change your financial destiny with one piece of advice, one connection, or one shift in perspective. Continuous learning thrives in an environment of exposure. The more you surround yourself with financially intelligent people, the more your own understanding expands. The saying is true, your income rarely exceeds your level of education, and almost never exceeds your circle of influence. Financial education also transforms your relationship with fear. Most people avoid investing because they're afraid of losing money, but this fear comes from ignorance. The more you understand how markets work, the less intimidating they become. You start to see patterns, probabilities, and principles. You realize that risk cannot be eliminated, but it can be managed. And education is how you manage it. Financially literate people don't gamble, they calculate. They don't chase luck, they design strategy. Every move they make is guided by understanding, not emotion. This level of control is what creates peace of mind, the rarest form of wealth. When you know how to make, grow, and protect money, your full attention, you sleep better at night because you're not depending on luck or other people for your survival. Another critical aspect of continuous learning is teaching others. Wealthy individuals often become mentors themselves, not just to give back but to reinforce their own knowledge. Teaching forces clarity. It makes you master what you know. When you share financial wisdom with your children, community, or team, you help build generational wealth. True wealth creation is not just about accumulating money, but about elevating others with your knowledge. That is how legacies are built. Through education passed from one generation to the next. The greatest gift you can give anyone is financial literacy, as it liberates them from dependency. A financially educated mind cannot be enslaved by circumstance. In the end, the power of financial education and continuous learning lies in its compounding nature. The more you learn, the more opportunities appear, the more confident you become, and the more wealth you create. It's a cycle that accelerates with time. The difference between the financially free and the financially trapped is not luck, inheritance, or intelligence. It's knowledge applied consistently. Financial education is the seed, continuous learning is the sunlight that helps it grow. Together, they form the roots of financial independence. You want to build wealth that lasts, commit to being a lifelong student of money. Read every day, learn from every experience. Ask better questions, seek better mentors. Because when you stop learning, you stop earning. But when you dedicate your life to understanding money, truly understanding it, you will find that wealth stops running away from you and starts running toward you. Knowledge is not just power, it is profit. And those who master it, master life itself. Generational wealth is not just about accumulating riches during your lifetime, it is about planting seeds that continue to grow long after you are gone, building a financial ecosystem that nourishes your children, their children, and every generation that follows. The true measure of wealth is not what you earn, but what you can pass on, not only in money, but in mindset, values, knowledge, and opportunity. Many people work their entire lives for comfort. But the truly wealthy think beyond comfort. They think about legacy. They understand that wealth creation is not an event, it is a system. And when that system is built correctly, it becomes eternal. Building generational wealth begins with a simple shift, thinking in decades instead of days, and in generations instead of years. When you stop chasing quick money and start designing lasting value, your wealth takes on a life of its own. Every decision you make, every investment, business, property, or habit, becomes a brick in the foundation of a family empire. The goal is not to give your children everything they want, but to create a structure where they have the freedom, resources, and wisdom to pursue everything they are capable of achieving. Legacy is not about luxury, it is about leverage, using your life as a platform that lifts others higher than you could reach alone. To build wealth that lasts beyond you, you must start by defining what your legacy truly means. Legacy is personal. For some, it is financial independence for their family. For others, it is impact, contribution, and the creation of something that outlives them. A business, foundation, or philosophy. Your legacy is the story people tell about you when you are gone, written not in words but in the lives you have touched. To build a meaningful legacy, you must build with intention. Ask yourself, what values do I want to preserve? What lessons do I want to pass down? What principles do I want to define my family for generations? Because wealth without wisdom becomes a curse, not a blessing. Many fortunes have been built in one generation and lost in the next, because the knowledge, discipline, and purpose behind them were never transferred. Money without education is fuel without direction. Powerful but dangerous. That's why the foundation of generational wealth is not money itself, but financial literacy, mindset, and values. If you leave only assets, they can be wasted. But if you leave knowledge, those assets will multiply. The first pillar of generational wealth is ownership. Ownership is the difference between those who rent life and those who shape it. You must own assets that produce income without your daily effort. Real estate, businesses, intellectual property, investments, or digital platforms. These assets, when structured properly, continue to grow and generate wealth even after your lifetime. The key is to think in systems, not just how to make money, but how to make money make more money. Create systems that your children can inherit, understand, and manage. Teach them how those systems work. Do not just leave them the key to the vault. Teach them how to open it, how to protect it, and how to expand it. True generational wealth is sustainable because it is supported by systems and guided by principles. The second pillar is education, both financial and emotional. Wealth is emotional before it is mathematical. If your children do not learn self-discipline, gratitude, and purpose, no amount of money will save them. Teach them the value of money, the effort behind it, and the responsibility it carries. Let them make mistakes early so they can learn from them. Involve them in financial discussions. Let them see how investments work, how budgets are made, generosity flows. Financial education is not a single conversation, it is a lifestyle. The wealthiest families in history, from the Rockefellers to modern dynasties, build systems for education as diligently as they build systems for income. They establish trusts, foundations, and family offices that manage wealth across generations, but more importantly, they build cultures of learning that ensure each new generation grows wiser, not just richer. The third pillar is protection. Generational wealth is only powerful if it is preserved. This means understanding legal structures like trusts, wills, and estate planning. These tools are not just for the ultra-rich, they are for anyone who wants their assets to be passed efficiently and securely. Without proper planning, governments and legal systems can erode what took you a lifetime to build. Protecting your wealth also means diversifying it across industries, assets, regions, so that one downturn does not destroy everything. Risk management is the invisible guardian of legacy, about preparing for what could go wrong while building for what will go right. The fourth pillar is purpose. Wealth without purpose is hollow, eventually consumes itself. Purpose keeps your wealth alive and meaningful. Decide early what your money stands for. Maybe it's education, innovation, community building, or simply giving your family freedom to dream without limits. Purpose-driven wealth inspires future generations to carry the torch, not because they have to, but because they want to. Your wealth should not just provide comfort. It should create capability. You can't buy legacy. You build it through alignment of money and meaning. Use your wealth to fund causes that matter to you, to create opportunities for others, to solve problems, to leave the world better than you found it. Because in the end, the greatest wealth is not in your bank account, but in the impact your life made on others. Another essential part of legacy is storytelling. Every great family legacy has a story. A story of struggle, vision, sacrifice, and triumph. Share your story with your children. Tell them where you started, what you learned, and why you built what you built. When they understand your journey, they will respect your achievements and feel responsible to continue them. Stories are the emotional DNA of legacy. They preserve identity and direction. They remind each generation not only of what they have, but of what it took to get there. Without that understanding, becomes entitlement. With it, wealth becomes empowerment. Generational wealth also requires community. No legacy survives in isolation. Surround your family with mentors, advisors, and peers who share your vision. Build a network of people who can guide and support future generations. Community provides accountability, wisdom, and perspective. Things money alone can never buy. Encourage your heirs to collaborate, to create together. See wealth as a shared mission, not an individual possession. When families unite around a shared vision, they multiply their power. Finally, remember that legacy is not built at the end of life. It is built every day. Every habit, decision, and dollar is a thread in the fabric of your legacy. Every act of kindness, every investment, every lesson you teach your children is part of your wealth story. The best time to start building your legacy is now. You don't need millions, you need a vision, discipline, and a commitment to think beyond yourself. Generational wealth is not about creating heirs who depend on your money, it's about creating heirs who understand and expand it. Your true success will not be measured by how much you made, but by how well you prepared others to carry on your mission. The richest legacy you can leave is a family that continues to grow in wisdom, unity, and purpose long after you are gone. Money fades, possessions decay, but values endure, and when your values shape your wealth, your legacy becomes eternal.